Hi guys! First of all, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who watched my last video of everything I knit in 2025. And honestly, anybody who's ever watched my videos and subscribed to my channel, it means a lot to me. But today I thought it would be fun to do a Q&A, and I had some people on Instagram that sent me some questions and some on YouTube as well on the community post. And right now we are working on the Outlandish Vest. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I started this I think 3 days ago, but it was during Christmas time, so everything was closed, so I had a lot of time to work on it. So it's like this right now. I might knit and make this video at the same time, so that will be interesting. All right, without any further ado, I'm gonna start with the questions. So the first question is, can you show the very first project that you knit? I can insert a picture here. I just don't have it with me because I'm not home right now, but it's a sweater. Well, technically, the first thing I ever knit was an unfinished couple stitches, rows or something like that. But the first thing that was fully finished was the sweater. And the reason that I was able to even do that, I know a lot of people are like, what, that's crazy for a first project. I agree, okay. The reason I can do that is because my mom is also a knitter, so she was just telling me what to do. And I feel like after you know the simple knit and purl, how to do a decrease, how to do a cast off, cast on, then it's really easy to, well, not super easy, but it's easier to make a sweater if you are guided on how to do it. So she was able to tell me. I started learning without knowing how to read patterns. I think it wasn't until a year or maybe even 2 years into my knitting journey that I even learned how to read a pattern, because my mom also doesn't know how to read it. We just make it up as we go. So I kind of think that helped me a lot with just being able to do modifications or not have to rely on the pattern as much if I want to change something or something's not working, or even just being able to design my own thing if I wanted to. But yeah, even when I'm not doing something with a pattern, I always ask her for help too, because she knows more than me. Okay, so the next question is, how are you able to complete so many projects? Well, knitting is my main hobby, and a lot of the times when I'm just a passenger sitting in a car, plane, train, or just sitting at a restaurant, winding down at night, basically any time that I could be doing scrolling or just something else, or nothing at all, I replace that with knitting time. That's probably why I get a lot of projects done. Also, I only work on one project at a time, so I feel like that helps me, because, and no shame to anybody who works on more than one project, I totally understand that. Just because I think it helps me remember where I'm at for a second sleeve or anything that I have to replicate, and I don't have to go through the whole process of counting everything I did to check how many stitches I had or how many decreases I did. That helps me, and also keeps me accountable to just finish something and move on. But yeah, that's basically how I'm able to knit so much in a year. Okay, how long did it take you to learn knitting? So I started knitting, I think I learned to knit maybe a couple months before I actually fully started knitting. So I learned the basics from my mom and grandma. We were just sitting at my grandma's place, and I think I had just Michael's acrylic yarn and really chunky needles and yarn and everything. Let me tell you, for anybody who's thinking of starting knitting, please don't buy thick, chunky yarn and try to learn how to knit. I think that is probably the biggest thing that deterred me from wanting to knit. So I would go for a size 6 or 7 needle and a DK weight yarn, or even a worsted weight yarn. It helps you see the stitches, and also it's not that hard on your hands. Chunky needles are a lot for my hands, but I also wouldn't start super small either, because I know a lot of people don't like that. Personally, I like that. I prefer knitting with size 3 or 4 needles and thinner yarn, but for learning purposes, I would do a DK and I would get something that doesn't split very easily. So then after that, a couple months later, my friend Jordan wanted to learn how to knit for my mom because her grandma had passed and she had left her some yarn and she wanted to finish the project of, she had the pattern of what her grandma was going to make with it. And so she just wanted to finish that project for her. And so she came over to my home one day and we all sat down because she was learning. I was like, you know, I'm going to learn too. And this was like 4 years ago. And ever since that, I found it really hard at first actually because I couldn't really understand what was going on. But she always says like, I walked so you could run. She doesn't knit as much right now. She's more into crochet, but I think she knew how to crochet before that. She just prefers crochet over knitting. And obviously I do knitting. I don't really do crochet. So yeah, after that, I couldn't not do it because it was just something so cool. I don't even know what I was doing before that, to be honest with you. I mean, I had hobbies before that too, and I also was studying a lot, so that's probably what I was doing. Anyways, another question is, how long have you been knitting and how did you start? Okay, I kind of answered that a little bit with my friend Jordan, but I've been knitting for 4 years. Somebody said the Matryoshka mittens. I agree. Aren't they fabulous? I actually have them with me in my suitcase, but I'm not going to dig them out right now. I think you guys know what they look like. And if you don't, I highly recommend watching some of my shorts or something. They're really cute. Okay, and then another question was, how do you come up with what to knit? Well, I'm not like a Ravelry warrior. Sometimes I go through there and look for projects and I will just like pick something, or like maybe something pops up on Instagram in the explore page that I want to do. And honestly, most of the projects that I even want to do, I don't even have them saved on Ravelry. So I usually forget about what I want to make, which is pretty bad. I should be more like proactive with Ravelry. I know people want me to like link my Ravelry, but I don't post anything on there. I'm gonna start posting patterns though, so stay tuned. The patterns are coming soon. I think I just gotta like make a new Ravelry though for the patterns. But yeah, mine's pretty bad. I'm sorry. So yeah, I just like look at something that is like a design that I think is missing in my wardrobe, which at this point is not that many because I feel like I've made a lot of cardigans or just stuff that I wear. So that's why I've been trying to like branch out with the stuff that I make to try different patterns, different techniques. For me, what's important when I'm buying a pattern is I want it to teach me something new, a new way of doing something. So I feel like I'm paying for experience or some sort of teaching that will help me like make my own design or like yeah. So also if I see something that I really like in my real life, so for example like the Gigi cat hat, I'm almost done with making the pattern for that. I really like the cat, so I wanted to design it onto a hat, and it was a great use of scrap yarn. So for me that was important too, especially when I was in a little period where I didn't have yarn that I had bought, so I just was relying on scrap yarn pretty much. That was something that I could do, and sometimes I even filter on Ravelry by like a certain meterage or less to maybe find like a smaller project to do when I'm waiting for yarn to come, or I'm going to buy yarn in the future, or just like in between starting big projects. All right, what pattern has challenged you the most? Guys, would you believe it if I said the Matryoshka mittens? Those are harder than they look, okay? Because first of all, they're on a small surface, and second of all, I was using like, I wasn't doing the duplicate stitch. I was actually knitting with like 3 or 4 strands of yarn on a very small surface, and they broke my knitting needles. Like I think I've had 3 wires break. Yeah. I had to buy new wires, so those were probably one of the most challenging things that I've ever knit. The Starmores, oh, by the way, shout out to all my Starmore people. I see people commenting that, and I just wanted to say, I see you. I see you. And I think those are challenging just with the steeking at first, but honestly, they're not like, okay, if you can do color work, I think you can do those just fine. I don't think it's like, oh my gosh. The only thing is you have to really pay attention to the color work charts because sometimes they're not memorizable. They're really not. Like I've done like the 50 by 50 pattern charts. Those just, yeah, there's nothing that you can memorize on those ones. So I would say that's a little bit of a challenge. You have to have the chart propped up all the time. But other than that, I can't really think of something. I'm sure if I look at the pictures of stuff I'll knit, I'll tell you, oh, this was hard, this was hard. Anything that's thick yarn and thick needles is hard on my fingers. Small circumferences like the mittens are also hard on my fingers. Like thumb gauzets on mittens, those can be challenging. I haven't ever knit socks. I've only knit a stocking, which the first one I knit was this year, the Petite Knit December stocking. And I didn't know how they did the heel part of it. So I had to look up a video and I still wasn't sure that I did it right, but I actually did end up getting it. So that actually stumped me for quite a while. But we figured it out. So now I feel like I cracked the code for socks too. Even though I did make like a bigger pair, it's a little bit cheating. It's not like a real sock, but I got my taste of that. Also, I don't knit socks because I feel like I honestly wouldn't wear them because the shoes I wear would just completely... where are my shoes? Oh, wait. Never mind. Anyways, they're like aggressive shoes. I just don't think that they would survive a hand knit pair of socks. I wear brand new socks one time, just like the regular old elastic, whatever socks that you just find at the store. And by one day of my 10-mile-a-day walking, they are annihilated. They're so pilled up. I mean, there's no point. There's really no point. And my feet aren't cold at my home, so it doesn't really make sense for me. Maybe just like for the fun project aspect of it. I will make them one day. I will make them one day, but I haven't yet. All right. How did you learn knitting? Okay. I answered that one also. I also have a few comments on YouTube. I think I have 3, so I'm going to pull those up. But what have you guys been working on? This is like small talk to fill me finding the... Ah, here it is. Okay. Okay. So one of the comments says, you seem to have a great range of diverse projects. Like I just said, I didn't ever knit a real pair of socks, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. How do you come across patterns / projects that inspire you? What do you have in mind as a requirement for starting projects? Colors, interesting stitches, mindlessness, complexity, etc. Really enjoyed watching your content and getting to see your beautiful knits. Keep up the great work and happy holidays. Well, thank you. Happy holidays to you too. Thank you for watching my videos. So this is like a longer question. I'm going to start at the beginning. How do I come up with the patterns and projects that inspire me? I touched on that a bit. I feel like it has to be a stimulating project. I don't really like working on something that's just plain stockinette without a little bit of something special thrown in there, because I like to try new techniques and have something fun to wear. What do you have in mind for a requirement for starting what do you have in mind as a requirement for starting a project? Colors, interesting stitches, mindlessness, complexity. Okay. It has to teach me something, or it has to be challenging. I like working on more difficult projects or something that I haven't done before. I'm a pattern repeater for sure. Like I'm gonna make another one of these Dagmar cardigans in a green color, but I think it has to be something that is visually interesting to me. Color-wise, cable-wise, design-wise, texture-wise, anything pretty much. But this is not like a question in there, but I kind of want to know if people are more cable knitters or color work knitters. I'm kind of both, but I think this year I've been more of a cable knitter, or actually it could be evenly both. Cables are great for, I feel like it is a little bit more mindless knitting because hold on. There's a section of rows in between after you already did the twisted stitches where you're only using one color. I can just feel like I can look at you fully right now and do what I'm doing and not have to think about it. But for color work, I feel like you're always thinking about what you're doing, which is fine. I mean, both are fine for me. But personally, I feel like for when I'm traveling, it's easier for me to travel with a color work project that's just one ball of yarn or just a couple that I have sitting in my suitcase versus a color work project. And actually, you know, the Leo scarf that I made by, I'll insert a picture here, but the Leo scarf that I made by Alice Starmore, that was like 17 colors, I think. And the color work chart was also 50 by 50, something crazy, and it was not something repeatable. And I had taken all 17 balls, I think even more than 17 balls, because I had to have other backup balls of the yarn for when I ran out of one of them. So I probably had like 25 balls in one tote bag, and it was just like under the seat in front of me, but it took up so much space. And also the yarn would just keep getting tangled with the other yarn because the ends were all loose. So I kind of don't want to do that again, but it was cool. You know, like I think I've talked about this before. Sometimes I'll take the pattern and I'll stick it up on the tray table, the clip where the table opens and closes. I'll put the pattern, like shove it in there, and sometimes it sticks and I can just like look at what I'm doing. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I would say that cables are way more portable, especially in bigger projects. Okay, next question is, what are your favorite knitting techniques, like Kate color work or brioche? Oh, this is kind of like what I was just talking about. Are there any techniques you haven't tried that you would like to try soon? Okay, honestly, I love both cables and color work. I think right now I'm feeling more of the cable vibe, but also I'm really into color work. I started with color work. I did color work before I did cables. Cables always was kind of scary to me just because I was nervous to pull the stitch off of the needle because I don't like dropping stitches. But now I never learned how to knit cables with a cable needle or cable wire. So I think honestly they're easier for me, but also color work is fine too. Brioche, I've never knit with brioche. I don't know, I've just never knit with it, so I don't really have experience with that. Other techniques, you know what technique I always have to look up a video on is grafting and Italian bind off. I love the look of Italian bind off. This is Italian bind off. It's my first Italian bind off, but I don't remember which way it goes in first. I'm sorry, I just don't know. But I do think the look of them is really good, so it's worth watching a YouTube tutorial and just figuring it out. I also really like the double knit button band. I've never done it before, so in terms of a project that or a technique that I would like to learn how to do is that I would really like to make something with that. For this one I didn't want to make it because I think this one looks better for specifically this, but maybe this will be the year that I do it in 2026. Also, another technique I really want to learn is what is it called when they have the scarves and I think it's called like double knitting, where on one side you have one colorway and on the other side it's like the flips colorway, the inverse, and it's like knit purl. That looks really interesting. I have a vague idea of how you would do it, but I kind of want to just like sit down and learn because I always see those scarves and they're really cool. They have cool designs like Snoopy ones and what have you. I really want to learn how to do that because I really like the patterns for some of them. I think that would be so cute to do. Yeah, so that will be something I hopefully learn next year. Okay, and then the last question is, roughly how long does it take you to knit a sweater? Okay, this one took me 10 days, but that was pretty fast, I would say. I think normally 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how complicated it is, and how much I'm working on it. I have been able to finish them in like a week or 6 days, but that's really pushing it. But I think a normal amount of time is like 3 weeks or a month, or maybe longer if you're working on multiple projects at the same time, or you're just not working on it as much as maybe other people would be. I don't know. How long does it take you guys to knit a sweater? Because I feel like I have a really skewed perception on it because I only really know about how long it takes me to knit one. I don't really talk to other people about how long it takes them to knit a sweater. So I would actually be really interested to know if I'm knitting at a normal pace or a fast or slow pace. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I'm gonna make another video about the stuff I knit on this trip and the yarn that I got, which is not that much, but you know, it might be interesting for some people. Also, I want to talk about my 2025 knitting plan since I got my computer out here ready. I'm sorry, 2026 knitting plans. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for being subscribed to my channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye.